Hello and good day. My name is Jerome Sebastian Shanko, and this is for our finals in medieval philosophy, a comparative analysis between Saint Anselm and Saint Thomas Aquinas. And God knows how many takes I've done because I keep messing up and I keep stuttering. No, nakakapagod actually. And I'll try my best not to mess this one up, no. Okay, these two saints, no, they have a great impact, no. Great saints, great live holy way of lives. And of course, hindi lang naman yung impact nila sa church, they also had a great impact in the world of philosophy. And one of those impacts ay nung sila ay tinalakay nila yung existence of God, no? And these two saints, of course, would be on the side of proving that God is real. At
No?
now, no, simulan ko kay Saint Anselm. Ang normal nating ang normal na pumapasok sa ating isipan bilang mga estudyante ng filosofiya kapag naririnig natin ang pangalan ni Saint Anselm is of course the ontological argument. At may kita natin tong ontological argument na to in the proslogion. No, it's actually the first pages, right? Pero the proslogion itself is not a big treatise on the existence of God. Like I said, it feels more like a love letter to God more than a philosophical paper. And it's a very beautiful, beautiful writing. Anyway, sinabi ni Saint Anselm sa proslogion is that God is that which nothing greater can be conceived. No? And in saying this, no, it feels like Saint Anselm is positing that we can conceive the idea of God in our minds, no? Na di natin kailangan ng mga external influences, no? Di natin kailangan ng masyadong observation or empirical evidence para mapatunayan na totoo ang Diyos. Dahil sa isip pa lamang natin, ay kaya nating maisip ang Diyos. No? At parang by saying this, no, if we can conceive this idea of God, then it necessitates an existence in reality, no, para may correspondence to reality. Ito, no? Therefore, God must exist. No? This is very inductive, no, kay Saint Ansel. We would call this a priori, no? A priori. Starting from only reason. No? So, parang, as I said, no? Parang napaka-rationalistic, very Kantian, or very Cartesian yung galawan dito ni Saint Anselm, no? By positing that we can say that God exists through reason. Pero of course, his contemporary, no, Gaunillo, will oppose or challenge that argument ni Saint Anselm, no? Sabi niya, okay, normal, of course, the mind can conceive ideas, no? Pero not everything na naiisip natin o kaya nating isipin necessarily means na sila ay nag exist, no? At di ibig sabihin na, like, as he would say, no? Hindi ibig sabihin na kaya ko mag-isip ng perfect island does it mean that a perfect INL actually exists? No, which is a great point, no? Na, kaya kong isipin yon, pero wait lang, ibig sabihin ba na kaya kong isipin yon? Does it mean that it's automatically true na ayun, that it exists, no? At doon, ayun yung ontological argument ni Saint Anselm. Pero let's not get stuck, no? Dahil most students or even scholars would cage Saint Anselm sa purely dun sa ontological argument from the Proslogion. Kaya Dr. Dr. Calano, no? Sinasabi niya na no, hindi purely ontological yung argument ni Saint Anselm. In fact, it is, he has other proofs or ways on how he discussed this existence of God. No? At mostly makita natin yon sa isa pang libro, which is the Monologion. Now, if we're talking Proslogion, yes, sure, I'll give you that. It's very ontological, no? Pero Saint Anselm also has a cosmological argument, no? Cosmological argument. Okay. At sa monologue yun, no, if I may read, no, I'm going to read it. This is from a passage in chapter 1. Anyone, therefore, who does not know of what essence the highest nature is, can at least understand with certainty that it exists through the mere fact that things of lesser nature exist. For if there's something that is good, there must be something that is supremely good, through which all good things have their goodness. At dito sa passage na to, no, parang he's arguing na sa existence ng lesser things, uh, he argues from the point first of lesser things sa pinakamababa to a supreme being. So that is itself is very cosmological at napaka uh, napaka similar to the first cause argument of Aquinas, no? This is very much not ontological kasi uh, it parang it doesn't rely only on induction pero on observation from the empirical, no? Na that good things exist and therefore must derive an ultimate this must mean that there is an ultimate good. And allow me to give another example. Wait, let me read. Uh, okay, this is from chapter 2. So, whatever exists through something else exists through that which exists through itself. Everything that is either through something or through nothing. But nothing exists through nothing. Therefore, whatever is exists through something. And if through something, then ultimately through something that exists through itself. And this is the highest nature. Napaka that sounds more like a riddle and a tongue twister more than it is more than the more than it does an argument, no? Pero upon closer look on what Anselm was trying to say here, he's trying to rattle my mind here, no? It's very similar to the third way of Aquinas, and that third way, I believe, is the way of contingency, no? And sinasabi niya rito, no, na dahil ang uh, English na, no, since things exist, parang they must be caused by something. At and ultimately, parang there must be a being that exists through itself, which we will we have heard a lot from that quote now. And that being that exists through itself is God. Of course, again, not ontological. It's a posteriori. No, it's God's existence from what we observe. And I think that would suffice to say na Anselm's argument was not purely ontological, but it has a mix of cosmological in it, no? This is this is for the sake of saying na uh, para hindi natin makahon si San Anselmo sa pagiging, you know, na yung the only thing he ever said is God is that which nothing greater can be conceived of. No, no, it's not just that. Of course, there are a lot of things that we could get from the monologion, but I think that would take me a lot of time, probably 3 hours, like our medieval philosophy class. No? And I'm not an expert in that. Anyways, let me now go to Saint Thomas's 5 ways. No, this is very popular. Ito pinaka kilala bilang quote-unquote proofs of proving God's existence. No? At this is very cosmological, no? Very different from that proslogion argument by Saint Anselm. But we will see here na from those monologion passages na I read and quoted, there's actually uh, parang a resemblance, no, or a similarity that you could not ignore, you know. And of course, the first argument of Aquinas is the way or the argument from motion or the unmoved mover, no, na everything that is moved by something else, and that there cannot be an infinite regress of movers. Bawal na ano lang siya na there's that, like a loop na paikot-ikot lang. So there must be a first unmoved mover, and of course that is God. No. Of course, since this is cosmological, I think it would be fitting to give an example. Siguro yung pinaka the best is the domino chain example, no? Which is very popular here when it comes to the argument of motion, no? Na of course sa domino chain, no, ay it falls because one domino pushes the next, no? Sa pag natulak ang isang domino, it's natural by causality na maghuhulog-hulog sila according to whatever pattern yung yung domino. The motion must have started somewhere, no? There must be a first force that moves everything but is not itself moved, no? At Aquinas would say that this first mover is God, no? Kung ayun yung mga domino, no? Ay domino na in line na God is not the domino but the one who pushed the domino, no? So he's not moved, no, he's not moved, but he's the first mover. And the second argument is the argument from causation, the first cause argument, na everything that exists has a cause, no? May pinanggalingan. I'm not sure if that's if that's the correct translation in Tagalog ng cause. Anyway, parang nothing can be the cause of itself, no? Uh, that na wala naman siguro makikita na ito magliliyab na lang bigla. But is that, yeah, I think that's actually, I think a better example would be na di ka naman makakita ng apoy bigla-biglaan na nalutang, no? That's very much, I'm not sure if that's an impossibility or a rarity, but I hope it's an impossibility, so my example is correct. Anyway, katulad lang sa argument from motion ay bawal din tayo magkaroon ng infinite regress or actually infinite chain of causes. So Aquinas here posits na there must be a first cause. Of course, this God. Going back to the domino example, no? Diba? Ayan, nahulog na yung mga domino. Nahulog sila because, well, tinulak yung domino, and it is natural na mahulog sila. At it would be a suspension in the law of nature or in the law of things na sa mga domino tinulak, tas it does not fall. No, it does not fall. Or uh, yan, parang each domino falls because the one before it caused the fall. So kung wala yung first domino, then the sequence of the falling could never start. And so there must be a first uncaused cause, no? Parang isang nagsimula, and Aquinas identifies this as God. So the third argument is the argument from contingency, yung necessary being, no? Ang lahat ng bagay sa mundo, no, they come into existence and pass away. There's always that reality, no? All of this, parang we are contingent, no? Everything in the universe is contingent. And if that is so, that everything were contingent, then at some point, no, we don't know when that is, nothing would have existed. Pero that's not the case now, of course. Something exists now. So there must be a necessary being that always existed. No? By necessary, someone eternal. No? Someone unmoved, actually, someone outside of time, and is the creator of time. That's why he's not affected by contingency. And this necessary being is God. A good example would be isang puno, no? Ang isang puno ay tumutubo dahil sa isang butil. Pero yung butil na yun nanggaling din sa isang puno. So, kung ang lahat ng bagay ay nakadepende sa isa pang bagay, then at some point in the past, parang none of that would have existed. Parang nothing would have existed So since things exist now, parang something must have always existed, and that necessary being is God. And the fourth argument of Saint Thomas would be the degrees of perfection. No? Sa mundo natin ay parang we recognize kung ano yung mas mabuti or mas mali. Parang what's better or what's worse. Kunyari in terms of kabutihan, in terms of beauty, no, and other things. Parang these comparisons imply parang meron tayong maximum standard, no? May maximum standard tayo sa mga bagay. And parang something that is parang the bar, no? At the ultimate standard is God. Na parang, I'm sorry, I was disturbed by ano also. Parang the ultimate, no? Standard. Parang the ultimate perfection is God. Kunyari, ah, masabi ko na I think this would I was going to use this again as an example. Uh, so, kunyari, we can say that a painting is more beautiful than another, no? Na mas maganda yon kaysa sa isa pa. Pero, ano yung basehan natin kung paano natin hinuhusgahan ang kabutihan ng isang bagay? Parang, there must be a perfect beauty that serves as the ultimate standard. And that is the ultimate perfection of all those attributes, which is God. And of course, the last is the teleological argument or the argument from design. No? At I love how Dr. Calano discussed this to us. No? Na ang lahat ng bagay sa mundo, in fact, in everything in the universe is so well ordered, and not only well ordered but it has purpose, no? May silbi, may patutunguhan at pinatutunguhan, at may kaayusan, and we cannot uh, we cannot ignore this well ordered universe, even down to the microscopic level, no, that it is so complex pero it is so well ordered, no, na it is impossible to think that all of this uh, parang they all are a product of chance or something arbitrary. I It's very hard to believe that, especially to those who study the sciences, no? Parang kunyari like planets and atoms, no? Parang they act towards something even without intelligence, no? Parang this implies a divine intelligence that ordered this, no? You cannot say that the universe has a consciousness and is doing this by itself, no? Or anything that Superman did it, no? This this divine intelligence guiding nature, ordering it. Someone who designed it towards an end, and that is God. Siguro yung best example dito is the watch, no? Though I'm not saying that our God is a uh, watchmaker God. Pero, di ba, ang isang orasan ay, of course, napaka-complex nung design. No? Um, each part, no, they work upang matukoy, uh, they work in order to help us see what time it is. No? At imposible naman na makakabit ng isang relo, not orasan, I'm sorry, ng isang relo ang kanyang sarili. No? It could not assemble itself. It requires a watchmaker. It requires a designer, no? to to order it. And we can likewise say this to the complexity of the universe that screams out that it has a designer, and that is God. And this is how I would like to conclude this. Oh my goodness, I did not notice the time. No. But in summary, and a very quick one, is that but if we are to compare the proslogion and the five ways of Aquinas in pointing to the existence of God, then we would have a very big difference, because Anselm's way is inductive, something that does not require experience, and Aquinas is cosmological, and we can start from the ground up, no? And pero kung if we are to look at the monologion, then we would see that there is a big similarity in terms of the two arguments of the saints in proving that God is indeed real. Pardon me for the lengthy video. I did not expect this to be that long. It feels like I got carried away by my explanations, but I guess that would be better than having a 9-minute video that I would just cram up everything in one. Again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to make this comparative analysis. God bless us all. Thank you.